a quick video on, semi-quick, on how to crimp small JST connectors. These are essential for many electronic projects, and especially if you're doing something like with making connectors for CNC routers, lasers, laser engravers, such as that. So the key to it is the crimping tool. Yeah, who would have guessed? So the one I use is that one. I'm not even going to try to pronounce it. So they make a couple of different kinds or varieties. One is you have to remove this screw and turn this dial. They put the screw back for the amount of tension it puts when it crimps. The other one has this cool little dial that you can adjust. Either one works. These are, I think, pretty new. So the thing is that these have removable jaws, and these are ratcheting. Has a release. So I can remove the jaws and place them into this one if I want to use this nifty little knob. So we'll be doing JST connectors today. They're very tiny. The ones I'll be using are actually these waterproof ones. I'll make links to all these in the comments just for the heck of it, but they're very standard. JST connectors. These are waterproof ones. There's also the non-waterproof type that I use most commonly. You can buy in these kits that has male and female. These the female or male part, it's always confusing because it's female because it's receiving this part, but it's got male pins in it, so that's always confusing. But these are PCB mounted. These are for the cable, and it comes with a bunch of pins. They are pretty tiny. So about the male-female thing. So what's interesting, this I would consider the female connector. It's let me zoom in a little bit. As you can see, zoom in, come on, zoom in. Here we go. So, as you can see, this is the receptacle. So this part goes into here. So by any other measure, we call this the female side of the connector. Male side, female. The ironic part is the female side uses male pins. So this is what you'll be putting in here is the male pins compared to the female pins, which goes on the male connector. So you can see where that gets, and that's standard with everything, all connectors. So you can see where that gets a little bit of confusing. So it's not just a JST type thing. All right, so the key to it, like I said, is the crimping tool. These are, this is the most affordable brand I could find. It's got great reviews. I can't even start to pronounce it, but yeah, there it is. I'll put the link in the comments. The dies for it are what is crucial. They are very well made, very precision. So this is what makes all the difference in the world. And they're made just for these type of connectors. There are different stages in each connector. This will be a little bit hard to see. But there's the part that, let's use this. Yeah, there we go. So there's the part that the can we see that? Kinda, sorta, almost. There's the part that the copper goes into right there, and that's crimped. And then there's also the insulation part. Most people think, well, I don't really care about insulation unless the copper's got a good connection, and that's true. It's got to have a good connection. But to make this thing durable as a full component, it's good to have that insulation crimped as well, because that helps keep it from pulling loose. That gives it physical strength. And because I'm using a waterproof JST, it has this little gasket that goes on there. So when I put it in here, that's the way it goes. But that's for demonstration. I'm using these for a inductive proximity sensor that I'm using on my lathe. CNC router, yeah, not lathe, CNC router. So let's get down to it. One of the big things that you need to do is the connectors. I'm going to do male, female, whatever you call it this time. So the connectors come with like a strip like this of the pins. So you need to cut them very carefully to get a good cut right here, very flush with a good set of cutters. Like that. 1, 2. I have to cut off some of the strip here. 3. All right. The reason you want it cut flush is so that that little end right there doesn't have any tabs or bent pieces or anything from a poor cutter. So no matter what quality of the connectors you purchase, you're going to need to do a little squaring on them. So hard to see, but it's kind of a U-shaped, and the U is open. You want it to be more with the walls to be parallel. So I'm going to take these, just barely squeeze on it, just kind of pulsing it like that to have a little more control and make the walls a little more parallel. And the reason this is important right now is because the next thing you need to do is fit them into the crimper. So you fit it in from the back side. Choose the size that fits. So it becomes pretty obvious. That's a little too small, that's too big. So yeah, it's this one. And you put the end flush right here. Kind of see like that, because remember there's 2 stages. There's the copper part and there's the insulation part, and these dies are set to do both those stages. All right, so this is a ratcheting device, so it locks in. That's pretty cool. So next you need to prepare your cable, whatever, or wire, whatever you're using. So I'm using a piece of cable. I'll go through this quick because this isn't really what the demonstration is for. So you just get enough exposed for what you need for this project. I'm only using the red, black, and green conductors, so I'm going to snip off the white. I'm going to use this stripping device, and of course it failed me first time. It never fails me. And just strip off a little bit at the end. and then twist it so it's tight. And that's because I'm going to be poking them into that connector in just a minute. Any stray strands will go off to the side. All right, so I got one done. So I'm doing these waterproof ones. It has these little gaskets here. Normally, you would put these on first before you did anything, before you stripped it or anything. But these happen to be silicone, and they actually stretch over the connectors themselves. So I'll put those on later so as not to confuse anything and make it more difficult here. All right, so I got this laid up, ready to go. And I'm going to put this and lay it towards the bottom of the connector as best I can. And then push it in until it feels like I've gone to where the copper conductor is fully inserted into the connector, and it's just the insulation that's on the back part of it. Crimp it all the way down. And then they usually stick like this. That's normal. Carefully wiggle it loose. Wow, that's great. So it's got two separate parts on a JST connector. One is for the insulation, and that bent down with that special crimp it has is perfect. It's got the copper part right here, the conductor, and that's in there nice. Very well done. So that right there will definitely hold up. Give it a good tug. Don't be afraid to do that. If you give it a good tug and it comes loose, something's wrong. It's not going to work. So now this is ready to insert into the connector once I get ready. Note which direction to insert it. They have a little tiny pull-up right here, a little piece that sticks up so that when you stick it in here, it's got a latch and a catch so that it goes in, but it doesn't come back out without a special tool, which is, you can use all the kind of things, anything from a pin, but they do make special tools just for removing those. And that is the place where you stick that tool in, that little bitty hole right there. It's made just for doing the catch release tool. So that's it. Good luck. Everything is about the tool. These are the ones I use. There are more expensive ones. There are cheaper ones. These had great reviews. I have quite a few of them. I have this one. And then all kinds of jaws for them. So I use these all the time. They work very well. So I highly recommend them. As far as connectors, people will tell you too that the quality of the connector matters. It does to some extent, but it's all about the tool though. And you have to prep it to make sure that the tabs that stick up, the crimping part, the part that crimps over the walls of it, got to make sure those are parallel. So when they fit into the crimper, they fit that die just right. Otherwise, you can't use these really without any prep. I've bought over the years as a double E and JST connectors and bifurcated cups, you name it. I bought so many different kinds. Anything from the brand name JST to all kinds of Chinese manufacturers. The key is the crimper and preparing this little connector to make sure the walls are parallel before you use it. And then everything it goes pretty good with that. So hope that works out for you. It takes a little bit of practice. Honestly, it's not one of those things where you have to do hours and hours and hours of practice on these things. You do a few of them, you'll get the concept of it, how make the walls of it parallel, how to fit it into the crimper, how to prepare the wire, and then it works really well. And for reference, always have my adjustment set on maximum crimping for it. So the pressure it goes into is the maximum. That just seems to be what works out for what I use. There may be times when maybe I use a larger connector with a smaller gauge wire and I need to use something with less pressure on it. But for everything I've been doing, that's what it ends up being. I put the max pressure on there. So hope that helps you out. Good luck. Take care.